click on that. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
there you go. So you're recording.
That's a
That's
good
all good.
idea. It's not like the show I did with Nick where it was taken down and disappeared. Oh yeah, okay.
I've done my homework.
Did your homework. Good. Awesome.
So whereabouts are you in the States?
In Malibu, California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
That's a lot like Spain. I've been in Spain too. I used to live in lived in Marbella. My husband's
Okay.
English. He's English like you. He's from North London.
Is he?
Yeah, yeah. And he's we've got a film company, Masterpiece Films, like PEACE. It's
Oh,
all
cool.
like godly, upbeat, exciting film.
Jolly good.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. A good London. Well, I'm originally Ipswich, so I'm off to the east of London, northeast.
Oh yeah, his dad had a store there. What was it? Rosella in East London. Yeah, something like dress companies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
Okay, here we are. I got my Lovejoy Trump.
exactly right. What
Yeah,
an amazing man. What an amazing
yeah.
man.
How fun is this? Who knew this is where we'd end up?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think um, this is what stopped a lot of the sort of Democrat voters is they just didn't like him as a person.
Right.
And I'm an old-fashioned Suffolk boy, farmer boy, and I don't give a shit who pays my wages. I don't give a shit who my boss is. If they're paying my wages for me to do it, I just get on and do it. Unless they abuse me, then I'll stand up. But there's so many people I don't like him because of this, and this, and
It's
I've
all
had so
yeah.
I've had so many people that I've just said to them, just name one thing that you don't like, and they come up with the most pathetic things. You couldn't make it up. I mean, and then when you point out the truth, they won't have it because they're just programmed. They're programmed to hate. I even spoke to somebody the other day, and was it Laurie Ladd? It was one of the ladies that I talked to, and she said that she just didn't like him, but had no idea why.
Right. Because
Then
everybody
you,
else, they're told.
sorry,
It's like you wake up in the morning, turn on the TV. Who do we hate today? And it's
yeah,
him. And that most people are just in that frequency.
exactly. And this was probably one of the big shocks in my lifetime is when I met Osama bin Laden.
Mhm.
I know him and his family,
Wow, that's
and
incredible.
he's 6'7" tall. He's got the quietest, most humble voice, and when he talks, you listen. But he's the most loving, caring man. You know, he's just a beautiful human being. When they started putting all this stuff out in the media, I went, "What? That's not him." They had him as evil, but this is how they portray people. They put out this narrative, um, and we'll see a lot more of this coming out. People like Gaddafi. Gaddafi was a character. I know Aisha, his daughter. I've known over 20 odd years. Um, he's a strong man. Make no bones about it. I mean, but he doesn't. So I like him because he doesn't suffer any bullshit. He gets on and does things. I like people like that.
That's probably why they took him out, right? That's
Yeah.
yeah.
For your husband, who's a London boy, he's a bit like Alan Sugar. You know, he's you either like him or hate him, but he's got something to say. He'll get on and do it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Are you a Spurs supporter? My husband's a Spurs supporter.
I'm a Chelsea supporter, and that only I'm 60 years old, and that goes back. I was born in Ipswich, so Ipswich is my first team. But they had a guy called Ian Hutchinson who could take a throw in from the sideline and get it into the penalty box in the late 60s, early 70s. And of course,
Paul remembers him. He's just saying.
yeah, Peter Osgood, Peter Bonetti, all of these people, but back in those days, Charlie Cook, I looked up to them as kids, and I used to collect the silver coins from the Esso garage with their faces on that you could collect as kids. So that's how I became a Chelsea fan. It was the throw in from the sideline that impressed me. And I've been a Chelsea fan right from those days, along with Ipswich, both of them.
Yeah, we have a
And
movie about George Best that's in pre-production right now.
okay, well, I know George's son Callum very, very well. I've
We
known
love
him for
Callum.
50.
He grew up here.
Yeah,
He goes
that's right.
Angie. Angie's a good friend of ours.
Yeah, Angie. Well, Angie was a good friend of mine, but she gets very carried away with saving everything.
All right.
Sometimes, and she's very much into, I'm a farmer's boy. She's a vegan.
Right, right.
We're all we're always going to have a few run-ins.
Of course. I have 6 vegan daughters. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I used to pluck them, draw them, eat them. So the only time I felt guilty is when we ate Henny and Penny because we knew their names.
Yes.
But the rest of them, that was food, And you grow up with that mentality. So it depends how you grow up, I think. But no, it's Trump. What an amazing, what a character.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, basically, how I ended up here tonight talking to you about, when he came down the escalator in 2016, all of a sudden, God just said to me, "You have to have his back," and I'm like, "What?" I was
Yeah.
not a Donald Trump fan. Was not political. I was literally like a lib dem hippie mom. I had no clue about politics. And then I just started to see, I knew he was going to win. I had read the Trump prophecies by Mark Taylor.
Okay.
And that is what like clued me in because they totally resonated in my heart because I woke up to God in 1981 and I've just been living thy will be done. That's been my
Yeah.
life. And it's really worked out great for me doing that. So that I resonated. I knew they were correct. So I just kept listening to them. And then I saw everything they said about Trump. I researched it and saw like it was all lies. So as I was doing that, it also made me interested in other prophecies, around the world. And there's people all over the world praying for him, as you know, and prophecies about him being the one that's anointed for this time, like a modern day David, modern day Cyrus. And so, anyway, that kind of brought me into this where I wrote the book. And oh, that's funny. When I wrote the book, I knew no one would publish it because, of course, they're all owned, it's all owned by them. So, the only publisher that that Monica Monica Ricks Paxson with Relentlessly Creative Publishing, she did that QAnon book, Invitation to the Great Awakening.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, she's somebody that would probably publish it. So I reached out to her back when, probably 2017. And of course, I also woke up with our back Intel channel. I saw the first post in October of 2017. And I still remember where I was when I saw it. And I get the divine nature of that. The fact that we're all, old, young, gay, straight, black, white, we're all connected just on that love, that brotherly love. It's beautiful. It's definitely divine. So it's interesting. I think you put on your thing that CNN interviewed me last week at an event in Ventura about QAnon conspiracy.
Yeah.
So it was very funny. Just being able to, I was surprised what they let me say, just to say that it's true, and I know, I don't believe. It was an inner knowing. So yeah, basically, I just I grabbed a few things here just to share. Oh, other things I forgot here. Look at this book. I love this book. I read this book.
Oh, bless you.
I love it, and
Bless you.
I love what you have in the back. That thing about a cult. That should be published everywhere because everybody's in the cult. They're in the cult, and they're worried about us being a cult. Of course, this book too, I have to put up here, is Mike Lindell.
What an amazing man he is,
So proud of him. And it's funny, he wrote the foreword to this book. And he's just been there for us. Like, he's selling it on the My Pillow My store. Like right now, it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Noble, and on the My Pillow My store. So he's been incredible.
Well, we might be able to help you because we've set up now. We're set up a group of patriots, and I think the group is only about 60 or 70 truth seekers with audiences, and we're planning to have a get together once a year, and the first one will be in Mar-a-Lago this year when this is over.
I'm there. I just saw you talking to Mel K about it. I love it.
That's right, and we're going to launch Jim Caviezel's new movie. I speak to Jim every day, and I think the world of him. I love him to death.
Me too. I love that testimony. He gave a testimony once about how he got into acting with Mary, the Rosary, and all that. I love that. I'm a real Marianne. I just love God, and I love all different practices, and it's about, like, it's about experiencing. There's no labels required. It's just living it.
There's certain things that have happened in my life that have made me, they've proved to me that God is there. And when you can prove God for yourself, then the rest of it becomes an awful lot easier.
Totally.
And of course, I went from light to dark and then back to light, having come out of the Plymouth Brethren, and having been,
I read that in your book. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I got myself into trouble. I went into prison. And had Mike Lindell, bless him, he went to the depths as well with drug
Right.
addictions.
Yeah.
And I think that does you a lot of good,
Yeah.
because I've often said in my life that you learn very, very little from success.
It's true.
You learn everything from failure. And
I think Donald Trump said, what is this here? Oh, I've never had a failure because I've always turned my failures into successes.
exactly.
Trump. Yeah.
My favorite saying that he has was, it was worth going bankrupt to learn who your friends are.
Oh, yes. Especially now. This is like perfect, isn't it?
Well, he's doing that right now. And I
So
was speaking to the team behind the scenes last night,
Mhm.
and they're still mega excited. Everything's in order. The quantum financial system is all loaded, ready. The RV, the
Mhm.
revaluation that he refers to as the vaccine,
Uh-huh.
that's rolled out.
That's great. I love that thinking like that because I know about the RV, but sometimes when he talks about the vaccine, it's a little like, oh, but that's great.
When you understand the code,
Yeah.
and they let me know the code some time ago, and I was like, do I tell? Do I tell? Do I tell? And they said, just not for now. Just see the reaction.
Uh-huh.
And it was all about creating a reaction, talking about the vaccine.
Right.
And then 2 days ago, they said, go on, tell them it's the RV. And then people sort of go, I wish I'd known that earlier.
Right. Because that was the one thing everyone couldn't figure out. Because Trump, why would Trump be forcing, something like this on us?
Your husband will know if he's a North London boy that from the old days,
Mhm.
the East London boys used to have a code of language, and apples and pears, stairs, trouble and strife, wife. They have all these codes. So the police didn't understand what they were talking about. There's so many things that they had their own language. When I try and explain it to my wife, who's Turkish, she just goes, "What on earth are they talking about?" And even when I try and explain it, then I explain what a kettle is. A kettle's a watch.
Oh,
And
okay.
that doesn't even rhyme. She goes, "Well, that doesn't make any sense."
I was thinking of a cup of tea.
Exactly. And but it was all cleverly done by naughty little boys from East London, so that the police didn't know what they were talking about. And it's been adopted all over London now, and they still use it. And it's lovely. But this is what we're going through now. There's a lot of terminology that's being used to throw off the deep state and the cabal, because they're incredibly dangerous. Their power's gone, but they're incredibly dangerous.
They're probably watching people like you now. So
Well, they told me that the other day. I was told that by the board the other day. They said, we've gone into blackout. The only way they can get any information is from you, so be careful.
okay.
So they gave me a couple of naughty little ones to sort of put out there. I said, I don't give a shit, I'll be honest with you. I'm 60 years old, 4 children, 4 grandchildren. If you want me as a decoy, I'll go out there. At least I'm not getting shot at. You imagine if you're in the Second World War and say, run over there, so they fire at you.
Yeah.
While we do something over here, and you go, well, I'm going to get killed. No, I'm not. I'm just going to keep running.
Right. Yeah, they did.
And waving my arms, So for me, it's a good bit of fun. Pride has never been an issue with me. It's just I'm very happy with what I have. God has blessed me. He's given me a lot more than I deserved. I didn't deserve half of what he's given me, but he's been very kind to me. So it's payback time.
It's a grace. I mean, I related to you from when I first saw you because I feel like we're very kindred spirits in that way. And I've also been like, well, it's like Mary Magdalene. What was that thing? I was forgiven much because she loved much. I didn't.
Exactly right.
I'm also went through my alcoholic, pill thing and came back and now it's just incredible. But I wouldn't have been able to help the people I've been helping if I hadn't gone down that road. Everything is for a reason, and God is so amazing. And all these people that I've met through this movement are just mind blowing. Amanda Grace, she's if you know Amanda Grace,
Amazing Grace, Amanda. Yeah, I love her to death.
amazing. And she's
I spoke to her yesterday. It was
yeah,
a
she's something else.
really good girl. Yeah.
She's been with from the beginning. She's been with me, and it's really been amazing. amazing journey.
There's so many good people on this journey, and it's like your husband would probably say the same thing, that the majority of people have been very supportive, been women, and I'm now proud to say that quite a few men are coming forward. But as your husband will probably notice, there's a lot of jellyfish out there who they've got a backbone, they're just scared of using it.
Yeah, because well, the white male is the enemy now, right?
Oh, exactly. What a load of bollocks.
No.
But yeah,
Well,
it's to yeah.
go, you go, Charlie.
No, this is what I like doing. I like just,
No, I
I
love
don't like
it.
the scripted stuff. I like to
Yeah,
just talk
no,
as
I like
people
that too.
talking.
I like that too. I guess I'll just throw a couple things in here about like Thomas Zimmer. He was the
Yep.
hermit of Loretto, and he actually in the 80s he received a premonition that a certain man would lead America back to God, and that man would be none other than Donald John Trump. That was in the 80s. And he ended up putting a brick into the Vatican there and St. Peter's Holy Door so that all the masses would give blessings or something to Trump. So that was just one. But I've got some, let me just share one thing. Let's see. Stephen Powell. Now, he's someone you don't hear about much. Stephen Powell. He said there's an unstoppable momentum behind President Trump. It can't be manufactured. It is part of a spiritual movement, which in this case is part of a movie of God.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, it's just the movie, and it's just beautiful because he's talking about where people believe he won't be able to do this, he won't be able to do that. This momentum, this spiritual force behind him will cause him to break through barriers others failed to break through. I hear the Lord saying, this man is unstoppable because I'm unstoppable. My kingdom is unstoppable, and this man has a mandate from heaven. He has momentum that is not his own. His movement will not dissipate, it will grow, and it will reach beyond the borders of American governing. It will inspire, it will stir up a nest. As the eagle stirs up the nest, so the Lord will do so through this man. And yeah, there's tons more. Stephen Powell. He's one of the.
It's very, very clear to me that God has chosen Donald Trump to do this. He's chosen a man who loves his wife, loves his family. He's a God-fearing man. He always has been. Mel Kay says that the family go to church with her family and have done for 30 years. It's not like he's just hopped on the bandwagon to say, oh, I'm going to love God to save the world. He's been there for a long time. I also know from behind the scenes that he was chosen a long time ago in advance for this. They were planning everything to get him into power. He was aware of the plan from way before his presidency, 4 years ago. It was put to him and he jumped at the idea. He knew what was involved. And this is why Hillary Clinton was so absolutely angry and fuming that she lost the election, because she paid an absolute fortune to Dominion to make sure she won. And she had no idea about the silent majority that Trump had in America of God-fearing people. And it's very easy, for your husband would know this because he's English like I am. Most English people, a bit like the mainstream media in America, overlook the middle parts of America. We know New York, we know California, we know Florida. That's it. A few of us know Atlanta because of the Olympics, but any more than that, you get into the Central America, there is millions of people there. I mean, you get into the South, the deep South, they're God-fearing, they're real patriots there that people overlook. And we always talk about how bad California became. Yes, it did. We know that, but he even managed to turn that red.
Yeah, I've heard
a bit
that.
like my office has turned red.
Yes, I love that. I can't wait till we get to see that, in public. Find out all
Sure.
things.
Yeah. Now I saw the figures at the time, and I was like, wow. To turn a California and New York red was just like, whoa.
New York as well?
Yeah, both of them.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And this is why the deep state put up such a massive fight, and this is why the mainstream media and them just pumped out so much absolute garbage. But no, it's for you and I, it's a wonderful time to be alive.
It is.
And just watching it play out.
To watch it like a movie, like It's a beautiful thing. It's that knowing, like you said, it's the knowing. And then with the information we've gotten from people like you and other people, it's made it a pleasure, you know. And it's wonderful because the reason we're here, like we've been fortunate so we can be here for everyone else.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if your husband can remember, 'cause I don't know if you follow it at all, but Manchester United were playing Bayern Munich in the European Cup final, and they were 2-1 down in the 90th or 89th minute. This was, I don't know, 20 years ago, I think it was, some time back.
You probably
And
know.
they managed to get an equalizer in the 90th minute and then win it in the 93rd minute. And that feels very much like what's happening right now.
Oh wow.
Everybody thinks that they've lost. You know, everyone thinks that Biden's won and Trump has lost, and we're not there yet. And but when we get there, I remember I left Lineker's watching it down in Fuengirola, and we were at Lineker's pub, and I just, because Man United were 2-1 down with a minute to go, I thought I'll sod this, and I left. And as I walked out, I could hear the cheer, so I ran back in again. It was like, holy shit, it's level. And then suddenly they scored again. I'm like, you couldn't make it up. And this is the emotions that the world is going to go through
Yeah. So it was
with Trump. That
worth it waiting, right?
Charlie.
yes,
Come
Yeah. Hi, Charlie. How are you?
good buddy, come in and say hello.
Say hi.
Oh, I'll come in the studio. Okay.
Come in this-
Yeah, this is me.
All right, buddy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very, very good.
So over here. Yeah, actually, it just reminded me actually of Tottenham's game against Ajax a couple of years ago. When,
Yes.
Lucas Moura got the hat trick, and we clinched it right at the end as well.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Nice.
No, I remember from the old days of Tottenham,
Right.
being an Ipswich boy. Bobby Robson was the first man to bring in foreign players into the English league, and it was Arnold Muren and Frans Tyson from Holland. And then Tottenham bought in Ozzy Ardiles and the other guy. I've forgotten his name now. There was the two that they bought in, South American guy. But yeah, Tottenham followed Chelsea.
Yeah, Villa, Ricky Villa, and
Ricky Villa was another one.
Was the two?
That's right. That's right. They came in at the start. But Bobby Robson was my hero in those days because he just, we won the FA Cup against Arsenal.
Right.
And we were flying high in those days.
Right.
And we used to have a farm up the road in Stowmarket. And Trevor Wymark used to live in one house. So we used to, oneness as they called it. And we used to go around to his house on a regular basis. And as kids growing up, it was always great to see these people because we weren't allowed to watch the telly or anything like that. So we just sort of sneak round to his house to say hello to him and stuff like that. But yeah, amazing times, absolutely amazing.
Good. I'm going to let you get on with my wife, but nice meeting you. I love your show, by the way.
Thanks. The support has been amazing.
Yeah, I know. Well,
and we've got a lot of exciting things with Masterpiece Films. We're making the Maccabees, a movie of the Maccabees, and all kinds of
yeah, we've got a lot of good projects in development, and we'll keep in touch with you. We'd love to
definitely, because we're going to get everybody together, because it'll be a very, very good tester when we put out Jim Caviezel's movie through the truth community rather than through the media, and see how many people we get to see this movie. Because this will take down Hollywood, because it's the truth about Epstein Island, the amount of research that's gone into it, and the people who've seen it have already told me they're going to send me a copy over for me to view at home before we put it out there. But yeah, it's once we get this group together, it's already 60 or 70 that are already in this group. Right through the whole scale of people on the truth community, and it will grow very, very fast. And then we'll just take on the mainstream media, because we'll be publishing the truth out, and everybody in the group will get the same truth, and we'll put it all out the same way, and that will destroy them.
Hallelujah.
That's been building all to this time. That's what all this has been building.
It has.
So we can do. That's great.
It certainly has.
It's funny. There's a pastor here that had a dream that the L fell off the Hollywood sign and it turned into Hollywood. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's all happening. That was years ago.
it certainly is. And I love what you wrote on your piece of paper that you sent across. The only way out is within.
Yes.
And when I was growing up as a kid, I used to look up at the sky and talk to God. And then it's only recently, I've realized that he's in here.
Yes.
And when you realize that he's within you and all the answers are within, your backbone's within, your heart's within, God's within. Once you realize that when you're looking to move out of the third dimension, everything is in here. You don't have to go outside. And once you realize that, it makes your life and everything so much easier. The only, I'll say this very carefully, the only benefit of going to a church to talk to God is the fellowship of other people.
Yes. Because otherwise, this is the church, this temple.
Exactly right.
Church.
Exactly right.
Church, your church, and you're right. We get together. There's the fellowship, but if we don't have our church happening, there's nothing to
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that's the constructive part. And I'll never forget, I was graciously invited to Iftar, the breaking of the fast of Ramadan at one of the palaces in Dubai. And that was a big turning point in my life from my perception, because I was sat in a room. There was about 40 or 50 of us there. Yes, they were all men. There wasn't any women. That was the only division, if you like. But there was Christians, Jews, Muslims, Catholics, Protestants, Sunnis, Shias. I saw a Sunni and a Shia cleric sat beside each other talking. And then that's what made the penny drop. I was asking about the different dress, the headdress they wear, the outfits they wore, just trying to understand. And they said, oh, one's a Sunni and one's a Shia. And I said, I thought they hated each other. And they went, no, that's all media.
Right. That's what they tell us. Yeah.
Yeah. But seeing all of these faiths together, it made me realize that every single faith believed and trusted in God. They just had a different perception. They had a different viewpoint. And the world has tried to make us think that other people's viewpoint is not as valuable as my viewpoint. Whereas I believe every piece in the puzzle is equally as valuable. And we've got the Grand Master Trump there who's guiding us as to creating this puzzle.
It's amazing. And then also every practice does the same thing to bring you within. All the practices are to bring you within anyway. So it doesn't matter under what religion it is. And there's a great saying, everyone knows there are drops in the ocean, but very few know the ocean is in the drop. And that's like God in us. And when you realize that God is acting through you, I mean, your humility, your humbleness, all that goes up, and then you become an observer and a witness, like a witness to the beautiful glory of life. And then when you move, it's beautiful. Like, I mean, it's beautiful because I love that we're having this conversation, because it's really what everyone wants. It's that intimate relationship with the Creator inside themselves. And that's the whole point. And then when we have that, we connect and we make amazing things happen.
And you learn to trust your intuition. You trust your inner self, and that builds your confidence and it builds everything. When you can make your own decisions, it's like a child growing up and you empower them to make decisions. And we're like little children, God's children, that God has empowered us to make the right decision. If we don't, he'll pull us back in and say, right, do that one again. Let's get this right.
He loves those. He corrects those he loves. I mean,
of course he does.
Correction. Because
exactly.
I thought I was totally surrendered, but I had a lot of self-will run riot. And but
that would be a woman thing.
Yeah, would it? Yeah. So, but there's so much grace. I mean, as soon as we just ask for help, to know who we are, it's right there. What is it? The whole thing, knock, it'll be opened, or all the different. Everyone has a different way of saying it, but it's still back to the breath. I mean, the fact that breath, like death, is being held at bay by breath. That's how powerful it is. Like death is right there, except for this breath coming into you and I right now as we're having this conversation. It's like, that's enough to knock us back and say, oh, thank you.
Yeah, I keep saying, and I've said it many, many times, it's very, very easy to go to church or get on your knees to pray for something. Sometimes we just need to go to say thank you for what we actually have.
every day. Like
Um,
that's the hardest thing to say. Thank you for every breath. To just
exactly.
a heart full of gratitude, right? Because then we feel good too,
Yeah.
and then
There's a
everything comes.
I think it was a hymn that said, "Count your many blessings, name them one by one,
Mm.
and it will remind you what the Lord has done." And I think that that's a very, very important thing to remember how many things we've been blessed with, and to count them and to identify them and just remind ourselves. I've often thought about my grandfather, and he used to tell me as a child growing up about the Second World War and how the ration, he used to be proud. He used to show me that he still had ration tickets that he hadn't used. I mean, this is how careful they were. Nowadays, you'd use all your ration tickets, you'd be asking for more. But
Right.
these were careful people. They
Sober. It's
knew,
like a sober, and not necessarily an alcohol related or not alcohol, but sober, like
sure,
clear thinking, like clear headed. We become. It's such a gift to be clear, like clarity, to have clarity.
maybe that's why in England they're opening the pubs, but they're not allowed to serve alcohol.
Honey, well, what are they doing there? What are they doing? I can't
I,
imagine.
I mean,
I
yeah,
spent a lot of time in pubs and wine bars, but I can't, never when I wasn't drinking.
no, exactly, exactly. No, it's such a wonderful time to be awake and aware of what is happening. Because I watched the speech, Donald Trump's speech,
Mhm.
because first thing I didn't watch it live because I was tired
Right.
and it was late at night, so I'd gone to bed early because I had an early start. I watched it the following day, but prior to watching it, I had a dozen messages saying, "Oh, he didn't really say anything," and then when I watched it, I thought, "Wow." And it depends what perspective you look at it.
Exactly.
And I looked at it and thought, wow, the amount of messages, subliminal messages. And even when I heard it and I heard about who mentioned the vaccine, I was having a little chuckle to myself. And I thought, maybe I better tell people because they'll be panicking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you remember, he used the fact that he was going to roll the vaccine out to roll the military out in America, because for anybody who knows, the USA is currently under military rule.
Mhm.
So he had to roll them out discreetly.
Mhm.
So he realized that if he said they were taking out the vaccine, nobody would question it. But they never, the vaccine was rolled out
Right.
by the military,
Okay.
and he never once made it mandatory, not once.
Right.
And number two, the military were going to test it, and they tested it and reverted back and said that it had not gone through the correct protocol, so could not be released.
Okay.
I've also had people yesterday who contacted Pfizer
Mhm.
um, and the other company, that AstraZeneca, and
Right.
they've both confirmed that the vaccinations that they are offering, neither have been approved. Neither. They
Oh,
are currently still in the testing
oh, okay.
phase. So the people at the moment are being live guinea pigs.
Wow. With the actual RNA.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's amazing how quiet the mainstream media are being about it.
Right. Well, that's part of their agenda, right? It's the war between the Great Reset and the Great Awakening. But we win.
That's very, very true. And I loved Vladimir Putin, bless him. I've
Oh,
always loved him
I
anyway.
have a chapter in here about him. I love him. He's great.
Yeah, your husband will be the same as me. The favorite line I have is, my job, when people accuse him of killing people,
Mhm.
no, no, no. My job is not to judge them. My job is to send them to a man who will.
Oh, I love that.
Exactly.
Did you ever see that?
That's old-fashioned English one, that is.
Right. Did you ever see that Oliver Stone did that interview with Putin, and when he was over
Yes.
there, he asked him if he'd be godfather to his daughter, and Putin said, "Well, you can't refuse when someone asks that." So that was interesting.
I love the chemistry between Putin and Trump when they meet each other.
Yes, yeah,
They're a bit like two naughty little boys that just get on so well. I mean, they're characters, the pair of them.
yeah, no, they are.
They've just got that cheekiness that God loves.
Yes, he loves it.
Um,
He loves when we're cheeky.
he loves people with character.
Yes,
And the two of them, Chairman Xi as well, character, Modi character.
yes.
the four of them working together, they've got this and they know they've got it. But all four of them, I've never seen Putin so humble, or Trump, on this last part of the journey. They've been incredibly humble when they could have been incredibly arrogant, both of them. And the humility shown by both of them is a real sign
Of
that
God
this is
using
one.
them. Yeah, that God's using them. Because
Yeah, totally.
can feel that power. That power, they know where it's coming from.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
You have to stay out of the way, right? To be used.
Yeah, just be there supporting. Moral support is so important
Moral
on
compass.
this
I like
journey.
when you always talk about the moral compass.
Yeah,
True. It's as simple as doing the next right thing. And
of course it is.
You see the proof in the results, right?
Yeah.
The consequences.
Exactly. And it's very interesting watching what's happening in the Supreme Courts, because I've said the whole way through, I didn't think any Supreme Court would be in his favor. Yeah, they're going, oh, yeah, we'll look at it. This is all protocol.
All got excited, but yeah, that corruption goes all the way to the top.
But when you look at the structure, the United States as a corporation is no longer. It was declared bankrupt in 2018. That technically makes the Supreme Court defunct.
Oh, of course.
It has no power.
I didn't think of that, but yeah.
And they're all legal minds, so they would know that. They would know that their corporation that they worked for, it's a bit like a company going bankrupt and everybody's still working there. Yes, the receiver's still paying their wages, but the corporation, from a legal point of view, is defunct. So that makes the Supreme Court defunct. So if they say, they'll choose their wording very carefully. They'll say, we can't hear this case.
Oh, okay.
Knowing that legally they can't.
Okay.
And but what Trump will do is he'll do this as an optic to show the world that they weren't prepared to do anything, because he's given them the opportunity. He's given them the opportunity to say, we can't because the USA is bankrupt. We bankrupted it, but we can't. So he's put them between a rock and a hard place. But the truth of the matter is the next step is the military tribunal, and Sidney Powell is sitting there waiting.
Right. So it doesn't matter about the Supreme Court.
Of course it doesn't, because they have no. If they heard the case, they'd have no value.
Right.
It's a bit like the election.
Yeah.
When was the last time that you heard of electing a president or a chairman to a bankrupt company?
Definitely.
That was just done as an optic to show the world how corrupt they were. So the actual election itself was illegal.
Right. So it's like we're in this big Wag the Dog, right? That movie Wag
Yeah.
just so giant that if we look for validation in any of the mainstream media, we're never going to find it.
Yeah, it's a bit like looking for diamonds down your toilet.
Yeah, right. It's like, so that's why I like looking at Myanmar right now, because that's like a mirror, right? That's what's coming.
That's exactly right. And this is another optic for us to see what's happening. Right. And it's so important that we start to learn from this. We'll see a number of countries, because when countries wake up to the fact that their elections were rigged, Mexico, Brazil, Canada, they've got a Cuban leader.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. England, Scotland, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, all of these countries have been affected by Dominion server and the software.
Too.
Sorry?
Leonardo's satellite as well, or is that just the
value? Leonardo's satellite was the giveaway, because and we're getting very, very close now to the critical satellite going up. Let me have a look on. I'll have to turn this on just quickly. The last satellite that's due to go up, that's of real value, is, let me see. This is due up today in a few hours tonight. There we go. The Starlink 17, 18 hours, 33 minutes and 28 seconds. Starlink 17. This is one of the most important. This is SpaceX Falcon 9 Block block 5. And that's due to go up in 18 hours,
Wow.
33
Eon.
seconds and 15.
And what will that do? What happens when that goes up?
That once that's in place, then all of their communications from their old satellite systems are no longer. So not only have they now lost all of their money because the Federal Reserve, then they've lost all their communication because the new system takes over. So they can't, and all of this is quantum technology. So this is all SpaceLink. This is all Tesla. This is everything that we've been waiting for. I have to be careful what I say because I'm under an NDA, but this is Starlink 17 is the big one that once that's there, it was due to go up yesterday, and it was aborted at the last minute for whatever reason. But we're now into the last day, 24 hours.
Is that
And
where
if
the
that
EBS will come from? Will the EBS have anything to do with the EBS?
I've had messages that we're quite likely to have an EBS this month, quite likely. But they're not going to tell me exactly because that's just, they did it before with me as a little teaser just to get everybody at it. But that was a distraction for something else.
I think
I'm quite willing.
We all have our 2 weeks of food and water.
Exactly.
By this time, if we don't by this time, there's something wrong with us.
Well, exactly. But, there's quite a few Americans that could do with 2 weeks without food and water and they get back to the right size.
Exactly.
But,
okay.
no, it's an amazing time.
Yeah, I want to share something else with you. That's so cool. We talked about going within or going without. There's a beautiful inner practice. Someone called Prem Rawat.
Okay.
Prem Rawat. He's amazing. He has been giving this gift of knowledge out since he was 4 years old. He's from India, born in Dehradun, India, and literally that's all he's done his whole life. He's 62 now, and all he does is go around the world and give out something called, it's a gift of knowledge, and it's already in you, knowledge of the self. And basically it's just 4 techniques. It's light, sound, word, like the vibration that vibrates you, nectar, the living waters inside. 4 techniques for you to practice on your own. It's not connected to any kind of religion. It's also free because it's priceless. You know how the best gifts are free and priceless. And it's just so beautiful. I received this gift in 1981, and it's a daily repeatable practice where I literally can go inside myself and practice these techniques, and then Beth is gone, and I'm just in that cup runneth over, like the Psalm, the 23rd Psalm. That
Yeah, sure.
And then I come out and I'm a full human again, and it's the most beautiful thing I can share with anyone. So I wanted to really remember to share while I'm here with you, because it's a premrawat.com. You can check it out, or Timeless Today. And yeah, it's amazing.
Well, these are all very, very important pieces in the puzzle.
They
and
are.
I try and stress to people that they very often think that their piece doesn't have much value, but every single piece has equal value. And that when you wake up to the fact that your piece is as valuable as my piece, then we can construct the clarity that we need to get us through this. And
it's like God's in you, God's in me. That's basically it. Having a relationship with each other, and God seeing himself in each human being. And then it's like a dance of the heart, like a play of the heart.
Sure. And I've often likened it to when I created a puzzle as a child, and the boring bit was doing all of the sky because it was all blue pieces. But if you have one piece missing at the end, it's not complete.
No. No, it's true. And that's funny. That part can be the hard part because it all looks the same. And yet
Exactly right. It is the hard part.
It is. And it's beautiful. We're in such a wonderful time, like you said, where it's all coming together. It's all coming together. And who knows what all this disclosure is? I mean, that will probably just blow my mind away more, but it's all beautiful. I know that.
It will blow your mind. The disclosure that's coming is unbelievably shocking. To do the amount of politicians that were corrupt, the amount of actors and actresses that were corrupt, the amount of businessmen and women that were corrupt. I mean, it went so deep. To use Julian Assange's own words, if you took corruption out of the White House, you'd lose 98% of the people. And he wasn't wrong.
In their time, right, with the takedown, because otherwise it would have been like,
of course.
Yeah. too much.
And there was a lot of people that were black hats that were pretending they were white hats. And this is why
Oh,
the last few months have been critical to flush them all out.
yes, it's been great to
Um,
see that. Yeah, it's been great to see all the traitors.
exactly. Exactly. And it every single little bump in the road flushes out a few more.
Yes, and that's why we're happy to wait, because look
Yep.
what's happening with the waiting is. In fact, I was listening to something last night. I listen at night to like all different scriptures and rosaries and every kind of thing, and it's beautiful. They were talking about the waiting. The waiting is a big, beautiful part of coming closer to God.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it
that's
is. It's the most exciting part. And it's the same as when you're traveling somewhere, the journey is the most exciting part. For those people, like I don't borrow money. If I want to buy something, I save up. The saving day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year is the exciting part. When you get to the target, it's almost an anticlimax because the journey's been so exciting. And we're so desperate to get there right now, we're not enjoying the journey.
That's because we forget about being in the moment. It's like
Exactly.
how rich is the man who lives over a gold mine if he never mines the gold?
Correct.
Right? And the whole thing is the more we're in the moment, the more well, what's
You
that
can
other
enjoy it.
true? It's just seek ye first the kingdom of heaven within in all righteousness, and all shall be added unto you. Right? It's like
Exactly.
it's just, it's the same thing over and over again. But yeah, we get it. It's so beautiful. You know what else is interesting? I wanted to share. My husband, when we were in London, and this movie came to him called Heaven at Last, and I typed it out. It was channeled to him, and it had a lot of things in there. I already met people around the planet that these things had happened to, and we came to LA to make this movie, and we had all these people. Michael Landon loved it. This Mark Platt, a lot of big people loved it. They said, "Okay," we said, "Let's make it." They go, "Oh, we can't make this because it was about the creator coming back to the planet and peace on earth."
Yeah.
So we were way ahead of our time. This is 30 years ago, but now
Yeah.
we're actually getting to the point where it's going to be made. So it's
Sure.
amazing. Heaven at last.
I think there'll be a lot of movies coming out now that will have a huge impact on the process because what we're doing right now won't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It won't take weeks. It won't even take months. It will take years. And I can vouch for that because when I came out of the Plymouth Brethren in 1983, it took me 2.5 to 3 years just to find my feet.
I bet.
And then a further 7 years questioning everything. So it took me a total of 10 years.
Mhm.
And I personally think the journey we're on now, moving from darkness to light, moving from the power of Satan to God, will take probably 10 years. Some people seem to think, oh, it'll be a lot quicker than that. I said,
I think you're
yes,
right.
there'll
And
be
that's why they have their 2030. We have our 2030. It'll be a
correct.
yeah, we have a beautiful 2030. They have their
But the transition is beautiful. Like the journey I went on from the age of 23 to early 30s was an amazing journey and very, very exciting when I look back. Yes, I got into trouble. Yes, there was some bumps in the road. Don't regret any of them because it stood me in good stead for where I am today.
yes, it's true. You wouldn't be
And
able
I'm
to
still here.
yes. And you have a beautiful wife and beautiful son. I love it.
Yes, I do.
Jesus loves
I've
you. I
got,
love that. Jesus loves you, he says in his little intro.
yeah, exactly. No, he's been very much a blessing for me having lost my own son in 2000 and
Sorry. Yeah, that's
when was it 2000 Justin was born 2009 November and I think Lee died in 2009 at the beginning of April. So yeah, that was a difficult time, but that's part of the growing.
yes.
Sometimes you don't realize what you have until you lose it, and that has a huge impact on everything in your life.
Yes.
But no,
Yes.
I'm very
I was
grateful.
thinking, because I've seen, I thought it would be nice to do a show sometime about what we were talking about just on that inner with maybe having someone like you, me, someone like your wife, someone like Sasha Stone, someone like Mel K, because I love what she said about Judaism. Like real Judaism is really just the 5 books of Moses, the Torah. And it's
Mhm.
not all this like, the Talmud was made by man, that wasn't God. And it's interesting, and just all the just the beautiful things about each religion, you know what I'm saying? And like the Catholic Church, for example, it's a big mess. It's all Luciferian infiltrated. Yet there's 1.2 billion probably beautiful Catholic people out there that say the rosary and love Mary and Jesus and are like saints. So,
Oh,
we
I totally agree. I totally agree. That
baby out with the bathwater. So it'd be nice to kind of just focus on, I don't know, just being real.
no, I kicked them up the backside the other day on purpose to create a reaction.
No, I like that. I like when you did that because we have to.
Because people need to wake up to the fact that we've got used to the fact that we know that there's something dark there, and we've just put up with it, and that's not a good thing, to put up with something that's dark that's in the light. That's not right. And sometimes you need to provoke people to say, fine, the Roman Catholic Church is satanic. And they were like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? And I've gone, right, that's what I wanted. That's the reaction I wanted. Because that reaction comes from the people who are not satanic and saying, I said, well, now it's time to weed out
Yes.
what is satanic in there, because it's destroying what God has created.
Do you
And
remember
it's been,
Malachi Martin? And he's the one in the 60s that called out the Luciferian infiltration of the Catholic Church, Malachi Martin.
yes, that's right.
And here,
That's exactly right. And it's almost, because it's subliminal and because it's just in the background, we think, oh, don't worry about that. It's out of that door. Doesn't matter. It's not in the main church. It's out there. But of course, it's like cancer. It grows very, very quickly if you're not
like what
careful.
Taylor says about the church is the 501c3. He talks about that get out of that system because it's like the beast system.
Yeah.
You're taking your little charity thing and the 501c3 is what Johnson put in so that nobody could say against taking prayer out of schools or abortion or everything else.
No, exactly right. Exactly right. It's an amazing time, and we should do this again.
Okay, I'm happy. I'd love to anytime in any way.
It's absolutely brilliant. I know it's late at night there. It's early in the morning here.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, you have a great day.
You too, Beth, and love to your husband too.
Yeah, Paul, and we love if we come to Spain, we'll say hi.
Nice seeing you, Charlie.
We love traveling.
You too, buddy.
Hopefully, we'll all be traveling more once all this COVID nonsense goes away.
Definitely.
And you come.
Lots of love.
We're on the beach in Malibu, so come anytime.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
Well, lots of love to you all.
Love to you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless.